What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. This video is going to be a little bit different today. I included some figures here just for decoration for this intro, but I thought today we would take a look at the Hakes auction site. I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't know if it's Hakes or Hakes or what, but they have auctions occasionally for different Star Wars items, from standard mint on card figures to bootlegs to pre-production. You name it, I have seen it on Hakes. It's usually very, very rare items, and I've always been hesitant to bid on Hakes. I've never have before. I almost did in this last auction, which is lot 231. I'm filming this as those auctions are closing, but by the time this video goes live, all the auctions will be over. And the main reason for that is I have some friends bidding on items, and they probably don't want me advertising to try and keep the cost low, which is probably wishful thinking on their part. But I wanted to briefly show you how to register for Hakes, some of the auction closing procedures, the buyer's premium, and I wanted to highlight a few items from the current auction lot just to show you the types of really amazing items that show up on Hakes. So I'm going to dig into that very shortly. But before I do that, I wanted to quickly say thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Your support allows me to make more and better videos. Now, let's get on to the Hakes website. So here's the main homepage for Hakes.com. They have auctions all throughout the year, but their Star Wars items usually come up about once a quarter. I think the last one was in October, and they now have one for auction 231 going. It will be ended by the time this video starts, but this one started in February, early February. The last one was in October. So you can count on a Star Wars auction, either comics or loose action figures or graded action figures, mint on cards, things like that, pre-production, once every quarter or so. And what you want to do is in the upper right-hand corner, go to the Register tab right here. And so here we are at the Register for an Account page. Very easy to sign up for Hakes. You have to enter your personal information and what time zone you're in. That's really important, is to make sure you change your time zone to wherever your local time is. That way, any items that you're thinking about bidding on, the time frame for bids will be in the correct time frame. And so you'll have your mailing address, your shipping address, and you'll have to fill in the I'm not a robot in order to register. Now keep in mind that you'll have to have your correct mailing address, and you'll also have to register a credit card with Hakes before you can actually bid on an item. Before I show some of the really cool items from lot 231, I wanted to talk briefly about the closing procedures for how Hakes closes auctions. And this is very, very important if you guys decide to bid on future auction lots. Everything is on individual timers, so that's important. And each item will close once its 20-minute clock down countdown clock expires. And so what does that mean? Well, so 9 o'clock Eastern time, so you have to adjust that for whatever time frame you're on. That's when the auction stops. Okay, so depending on when you want to bid, if you're like me, I tend to like to bid on items on eBay right before the expiration of the listing. Well, you really can't do that with Hakes. You can bid at the last second, like let's say 9 o'clock Eastern, so 8:59 p.m. you could bid. But what happens now is once that clock hits 9 o'clock, there's a 20-minute countdown. So if somebody else wants to bid, they can. And if someone else bids, even if it doesn't overstep your bid, it doesn't overtake your bid, that the 20-minute countdown clock is still in effect. So let's say at 9:01 somebody else bids and it's still not as high as your bid. It does not matter. Now the 20-minute countdown clock doesn't start at 9 o'clock, it starts at 9:01. And on until it actually closes. So if you bid it's at 8:59 p.m. Eastern time on an item and nobody bids, the clock will start at 9 o'clock sharp for the 20-minute countdown. And if no other bids are received by 9:20 p.m., the auction will close and you've won the item. So keep all that in mind as you're bidding, that it does not work like eBay. Okay, there's a 20-minute countdown clock to give people kind of a last-second shot at bidding on the item, and every time somebody bids after that countdown clock starts, it restarts the 20-minute countdown. So that's very important if you guys decide to bid on something in the future. So here's the first item I wanted to show off in lot 231. This is a Slave 1 first shot vehicle. And this is just awesome. This is probably, as noted here in the photos, this is most likely a Shadows of the Empire pre-production prototype and not for the actual vintage Kenner item. So as you can see here, it's unpainted with no stickers. It's got kind of some translucent plastic for the wing struts, but it just looks super cool with the AFA encasement. And here's some other shots of it. What a cool item. There's the back of it. And it's graded 80, near mint, first shot vehicle, Slave 1. But as you can see here in the certificate of authenticity from CIB, this is most likely a test mold used in the pre-production of the 1996 Shadows of the Empire version of the Slave 1. The Shadows of the Empire Slave 1 had the same date stamps as the vintage vehicle. And as you can see right now, it's at $2,300 before the buyer's premium. The buyer's premium is 18% at Hakes, which is the buyer's responsibility, and that's $2,725, and it still hasn't closed yet. So I expect this one to go for some big money. The next item on the list is really cool. This is a Revenge of the Jedi blank test proof card. We've all seen Revenge of the Jedi proof cards, but one of the more rare ones that you can pick up is this one, a blank proof card with no printed character information on the front. And let's take a closer look at the photos of this. So this is what the blank proof cards look like. They're black and white with a free Neon Numb offer. And, you know, these go for quite a bit of money. Right now, the bid before the buyer's premium is at $3,300. So almost $4,000. And the auction still hasn't closed yet. And this is graded 85 by AFA. You see these come up occasionally in Deal or No Deal, but very rarely. I think I've seen maybe one or two that have come up in Deal or No Deal over the last few years. Let's switch gears a little bit and take a look at another one I was watching, but I'm going to let it go. I want to bid so bad. This is a Polish bootleg Boba Fett, and what's unique about this one is that he has the yellow paint decor. It's very difficult to find this. I've only seen a few of these out there over the years, but this is a second generation Boba Fett. And I think the other hesitation I have is that AFA labeled this one as a 1994, which would put that squarely with the third generation, but it's really a second generation Boba Fett. So I think, unfortunately, it's mislabeled in terms of the year. It's not a big deal. AFA does not grade Polish bootlegs anymore, so to get anything kind of AFA graded that's a Polish bootleg is pretty difficult to do. Right now, this one's sitting at $504 before the end of the auction, which is $600 after the buyer's premium. So very expensive, and other collectors, I know a couple of collectors that are actually bidding on this, so I'm going to let it go. While a Power of the Force Lando Calrissian in his general outfit is not particularly rare, what is unique is that in this auction, there are a number of Power of the Force 2 mint-on card figures that are U-graded. And you don't see many vintage Kenner items that have the uncirculated grade. So whoever sent these into AFA originally, they had a sealed case of Power of the Force 2 figures, and they were able to get the uncirculated designation for a vintage Kenner item. So I very rarely see that, if ever. And so as you can see here, it's graded U85, yellowed near mint. But I just wanted to show that because you just don't see that very often. Right now, it's still pretty reasonable in terms of the cost. It's at $605 for the maximum bid, but that's $713 after the buyer's premium. I expect this one to jump up pretty quickly only because of the U designation. You just don't see that very often. Getting the pulse from collectors on Facebook, most people were not very impressed with lot 231, which is the current auction lot, but there are some seriously amazing items in here. And one of those is this one. This is a Bib Fortuna Power of the Force proof card, and he was never released on this card back, and so we got an AFA graded proof card that's 85 plus, which is super high grade. And as you can see, the bid right now is at $14,300, which is almost $17,000 after the buyer's premium. But what a cool item. The Power of the Force 2 proof cards for figures that were never released, you know, in retail, they go for quite a bit of money. There was the Power Droid, that was one, a prune face sold on Facebook, I think for around $8,500. These just are very rarely on the market, and collectors who have big bucks and deep pockets, they go for these to have runs, or if they have character-specific runs. One final item before we wrap this video up is this very rare figure. This is a Kleb Zelok first shot prototype. This was an unproduced figure that was going to be in the second series of the 1985 Star Wars Droids toy line. This one is graded 85 plus, so it's complete. He comes with a Bosk weapon. As you can see here, the bid right now is about $6,000 or $7,100 after the buyer's premium. So an extremely rare item, but how cool is that? So this figure was never released. He has a Bosk style blaster rifle, and just a very interesting figure. I like the kind of fluorescent green color and the goggles, and what an awesome item. And first shot action figure Kleb Zelok 85 plus by AFA. So, you know, while a lot of the collectors didn't seem to be that impressed with the vast majority of the offerings, there was a lot of standard license stuff, mint on cards, graded stuff, ungraded, but there were definitely some pretty amazing gems in lot 231 at Hakes. Hopefully this gives you a general idea of how Hakes works, and don't be hesitant to bid on items, you know, in future lots that come up. I know I almost pulled the trigger on a few bids, but I decided not to, just to save some money. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe for future content, and I look forward to being back soon. Thanks again for watching.